One of the reasons that Lego sets go up in value over time is because of demand. It's because of people going out there and buying up those Lego sets even after manufacturing has ended, because they want to still source those sets, they want to finish their collections, and they want to go back and get those old sets that are on eBay and Amazon. But here's the thing, the price of the Lego set going up over time can be changed dramatically if the demand suddenly increases on something. If you have a set that is going up steadily over time in price, but then something happens that makes the public interested in that set more, then you can have a surge in demand, and that can cause the price to start to shoot up a little bit quicker. And then that can cause the price to move up even faster. And as Lego investors, we should learn, in order to be ready for those kind of things, what are some of the things that can happen in the world that can impact the price of Lego sets. So in this video, I want to share some thoughts on things that we've seen happen that can influence a Lego set in some way. Now, it doesn't always make the price skyrocket. Sometimes we can see that happen. Other times it just increases demand for a short time, but there's still a lot of supply, so that you don't immediately see a price bump. But over time, the increase in demand will mean that more supply is selling, and then over time, eventually the supply will dwindle faster, and as a result, it will eventually have that nice price bump. But you don't always see that fully corresponding with a world event. But either way, we do see world events impacting Lego sets in various different ways. So I want to talk about this here because it is an interesting thing to think about as a Lego investor. It is one of the more advanced topics that I cover on these videos when we're talking about surges in demand of a Lego set and what could cause it. But I want to share some examples. I want to talk about some Lego sets that something has happened, whether it is the price going up or it is just an increase in demand caused by something that happened. I want us to have some examples that we can draw on, and then maybe you have some other ideas out there of sets that you want to go and check as well, because there are so many examples of this. If you just stop to think about it for a moment, you will find a lot of this happening. This can be caused by world events such as someone dying, unfortunately. If there is a Lego set based on, another license, and there's some character unfortunately passes away, we do often see a surge of people going to try and buy those minifigures or buy those Lego sets that person was in. And so that can cause a sudden surge in demand for those Lego sets. It can also happen for other reasons, such as world news. And I'm going to share some interesting examples here of something that happened in the world, maybe politically, that could cause a Lego set to skyrocket in value. And we're going to see some of those as well. So let's just jump straight in here. The first one we're going to talk about is Central Perk, the Lego Friends set based on the Lego Friends TV show, of course. And as we know, Matthew Perry, who played Chandler in the TV show, did pass away in October of 2023. So what was the impact that we see on the Lego Friends Central Perk set at that time? So right here we're looking at a tool called Keepa, and Keepa just shows me the price history over time on Amazon in the US. We are talking about US data here on Amazon.com. Things will be different on your marketplace wherever you are in the world. So I know I still will get those questions about, prices are different where I am, but just know that this is Amazon US data. Okay, so we're looking at Keepa. And if I just scroll in, because this is looking at the all-time view, and we can see 2020 here, 2021, 2022, and 2023. And the pink line here shows the price. That is the buy box on Amazon. And we can see that it skyrocketed here when the set went out of stock. The orange that we see right here means that the set was still in stock on Amazon. And at around the halfway through the year point, it turns into white, which means that Amazon were sold out. And we see the pink line suddenly start to skyrocket here. That means the set is going up in value. Okay, the price suddenly skyrocketed. So it was $60 while Amazon were available, but by the end of the year, it was selling for $109 at the buy box on Amazon. So we see that price skyrocketing. Now, Matthew Perry's death, unfortunately, it happened on October 28th of this year. So if we just look at a 1-year view here to get a better picture of what's happening, a 1-year view, we can see that Amazon went out of stock right here in July. The price started to go up. Now, right here is that time where Matthew Perry unfortunately passed away. So it was right here that we see that happen on October 28th. Now, what you will notice when you look at this chart is the green line suddenly plummeting. Okay, so the green line right here dropping off a cliff on that day, October 28th. What happened here? So the green line is called the Amazon sales rank. Sales rank is a gauge of demand, right? That tells us how much sale volume is happening on this Amazon listing. Okay, it doesn't tell us the number of units that are selling, but it's just an indicator of how this set is selling when compared to other items in the same category, which is toys and games, building sets on Amazon. So this set suddenly skyrocketed skyrocketed in demand on the 28th of October 2023, the day that Matthew Perry passed away. This was, of course, fans of the TV show Friends with an outpouring of support for Matthew Perry and wanting to make sure that they had this set before they couldn't get it anymore, because there's only going to be 2 Chandler minifigures, and that's from this set and then from their Friends apartment set, and it's unlikely they're ever going to make another Lego set based on the Friends TV show. So this set had already retired. We saw that it went out of stock in July, but it had actually retired the previous December. This stock that Amazon had was lingering stock. That's what I like to call zombie stock, and this zombie stock just stuck around for half of the year, and so a lot of people were worried about this as an investment, and they felt like it wasn't going to be a great investment because Amazon stayed in stock for so long. But as soon as they sold out, we saw the price moving up quickly, and as soon as Matthew Perry passed away, we saw an immediate surge in demand on this set, and they see the green line falling. The average sales rank up until that point was around 12, 13, 14,000. We can see the green numbers there, 13,000. And after that happened, the sales rank plummeted down to 700s, in the 700s, below 1,000. Now, for those who are not really aware of what sales rank really means, I can just tell you this: a sales rank of 700 is an incredibly fast selling item in the toys and games category. This is a set that was selling a lot of units. So as soon as we see that plummet of the sales rank, the surge in demand on this set was insane. It was absolutely insane. And all of a sudden there was a lot more sales happening. As a result, because the set was retired, all of these sales were going to third-party sellers, and so we would have a massive reduction in the sellers. We can see that down here in the bottom chart, which shows us the number of sellers. We can see this quick decline. Now, some of those sellers likely had a lot of units, and so a lot of sellers probably sold out very quickly when this happened, and we can see this decline. Now, over the next month into December, we see continued demand. Now, it is natural for Q4 to have high demand, and so I would have expected this green line to drop in Q4 anyway, or especially in late November into December. But this drop you can see on the 28th of October, firstly, is way before we usually see those Q4 sales spikes. It coincides directly with Matthew Perry's passing, unfortunately, and we can see that it was kept up all through early November. Early November usually is not going to be this much better selling than October was, but it is usually better selling, but it's not going to be this much. This is dramatic, and we can see that this demand was sustained over the course of November, and as a result we see that pink line, which is the price, go up. So we can see that the price was $90 right before this happened, and over the course of the next month it ended at $100 at the end of November, and then it went up to $110 in December. So from $90 to $110, a $20 increase, which really is a lot, because if you bought the set for $48 when it was on sale, which it was a $60 MSRP, a lot of people got it for $48. They were discounted at various different times, and if you bought it for $48 and then you're selling for $110 a year after retirement, you're doing reasonably well at that point. So from 90 to 110 over the course of about 6 weeks from the moment that Matthew Perry passed away. So we can see a world event, something happening in the world with a character, a beloved character, actor who played a character. There was a minifigure of that character. The minifigure is scarce, it's unique, it doesn't exist in many other sets, in any other sets, and as a result of that, people just flocked to buy this set in order to have this in their collection forevermore because of their love for Matthew Perry. That's what we're talking about here, folks. We're talking about world events causing something to happen in Lego sets. We're not always going to see prices go up all of a sudden. Some of this is going to depend on whether the thing happens while Amazon are in stock or out of stock. If something happens that causes demand to spike, but Amazon are still in stock, then Amazon will eat up a lot of that extra demand because they still have pallets of the thing. But if the set's already retired when the thing happens, whatever world event it may be, then a lot of that extra surge in demand goes to the third-party sellers like you and I, and then we can see the price ticking up a bit quicker. Okay, so that's what happened here with Central Perk. I'm going to show you an even better example of this, and this one is probably going to cause some comments down below, so I'm a little bit apprehensive about what I say on this one. I don't want this to get into a political discussion, so let's keep this clean in the comments, please, if we don't mind. But we're going to talk about the US Capitol building. The US Capitol building, as we all know, especially if you're living in the United States, some interesting events unfolded in early 2021 for the US Capitol building, and those events impacted this set pretty significantly. So this is the Lego Architecture US Capitol Lego set 21030, and this set was retired by the time the events unfolded at the start of January 2021, January 6th, 2021, we had a case where some people broke into the US Capitol building. Again, I'm not going to go elaborate on what happened that day. I'm not going to share any opinions on what happened that day, and I hope that we can keep this clean. The events that unfolded, that's what happened, whether you are in favor of certain people or not. There were a certain group of people who broke into the US Capitol building. I know you're all laughing about how much I'm squirming talking about this, but 21030 Lego set on the US Capitol building. And when this happened, we saw some interesting stuff. So the US Capitol building was broken into. It made national news. It made world news, of course. It's a huge deal. The US Capitol is the center of the government in the United States, one of the most important buildings in the entire country, yet in the entire world. And the building was broken into and was all over the news. And so this Lego set that had already been retired at that point had a massive spike in price. The price skyrocketed. So let's look at what happened. This set retired at the end of 2019. We can see that right here with the orange on the first chart up here. And at the end of the year, the set retired. Now, throughout the first year of its life, we see the pink line start to rise. The pink line is the price. So we see that pink line start to move up here in the early 2020. And we went from being able to buy this set for $91 at the end of its life to a $208 price on Amazon after a couple of months. So by May, it was selling for around $200. So again, it was $100 MSRP, but you could have bought it for $90, and it was selling for $200 on Amazon after a couple of months in 2020. Now, some of that was the COVID bump. If you've been a Lego investor for a while, you'll know what I'm talking about here. During COVID, when the world went into lockdown, Lego sets in general just saw a massive surge in demand because everyone was locked away indoors. They were looking for cool hobbies to pick up with their kids and keep their kids occupied and everything. And Lego worldwide had a massive surge in demand. And you can see how fast the price rose right here. The demand skyrocketed in March. You can actually see it if you look at the sales rank right here, the green line. We can see a massive surge in demand in March 2020, causing that price to skyrocket to $200. So this was an immediate good investment at that point. And then it stayed flat for the rest of 2020. It was flat right in through Q4 of its first retirement. It was at around $200. And then this event happened. So if we zoom in a little bit on these 2 years, because this gives us a better picture of what's going on here. So we're looking at 2020 and 2021 for the US Capitol building. The pink line is the price again, and the green line is the demand. So we can see that the demand was, and by the way, for the green line, higher is worse. So when you see the green line go up, it means that the sales were getting worse. When it comes down, it means the sales were getting stronger. So back here in March 2020, when we went into lockdown, we see the green line drops, and that is because demand was getting so much stronger. But back down here at the end of 2020, through Q4, in fact, September, October, November, we can see the sales were, 30,000 sales rank, 20,000, 25,000, 26,000 sales rank. And then it started to get better, of course, because in Q4, that's what we expect. And right here, it was 21,000, 20,000. And then the Christmas rush, of course, it did plummet down, 10,000, 8,000. The interesting thing is usually you would see the sales rank skyrocket again or go up again in January, because usually the sales are not as strong in January. But what happened here on the 6th of January was that this event happened where the US Capitol building was broken into, and as a result, the sales throughout January were as strong as they were pre-Christmas in December. The sales in January were 10,000 sales rank, 7,000 sales rank, 9,000 sales rank. It went up a little bit here. It spiked a little bit and came back down 11,000, 7,000. All throughout January, throughout this period, you see sales that were the same as usually December are. In fact, they were better than a lot of December. You can see that from the green line right here. And if you look at the pink line, we see that price skyrocket. So we go from a $200 purchase price right before Christmas to a $250 purchase price by the 7th of January. So literally the day after the US Capitol building was broken into, we can see this sudden surge in the price. We can see that now selling for $250. And over the course of the next month, it ended up going up to $273 at the buy box by February 5th. So by February 5th, it had gone to $274. And again, right before Christmas, it was $200. From $200 to $274 in a month, that's not something that usually will happen on a Lego set. Well, unless there's a surge in demand. And this was a year after retirement, so the price was already inflated. It was $100 MSRP. So all of this extra demand were paying $200, $210, $220, $230, $240, and they were happy to do so because of what happened to the US Capitol building. Made more people want to get that set, build that set, put that set on their shelves. Maybe some patriotism and people wanting to respect the US Capitol building by building the Lego version. So that's what happened here with the US Capitol. It was pretty interesting. We had a surge in demand causing a surge in price. Again, because Amazon were already sold out, this set was retired. We did see the price action being impacted directly by the event. Okay, it won't always be like that, but in this case we did see that. All right, so the next couple of examples, I'm going to move a little bit faster here, but we did have an interesting thing that happened with the Star Wars ATST Raider. Now this one, if you're a Lego investor going back a couple of years, you'll be laughing when you see me pull this up. This set was a pick for a lot of Lego investors a couple of years ago, ended up never retiring, just sticking around and being a very poor investment for a lot of people. It's 75254, and what happened with this set is that on February 10th, 2021, Gina Carano, the actress who plays Cara Dune in The Mandalorian, which of course is what this set is based on, and the Cara Dune minifigure appeared in this set, she was fired by Disney from The Mandalorian, and as a result of that, we had a surge in demand for this Lego set. Once again, this is where you gotta go if you want to get the Cara Dune minifigure. And so back in 2020, if we zoom in here, we do see a surge in demand right here, right around the time that she was fired. We see the firing happened on February 10th, and over the next couple of days, we see that green line right here that suddenly plummeted. And of course, that was the firing of Gina Carano. And all of a sudden the flock in demand for this set. As a result, Amazon sold out. We can see the white, the orangey color here dissipating, and that's showing us that Amazon are actually sold out, and the price did go up briefly. So it went from selling for $40 up to selling for $50. Amazon actually raised their price. They came back in stock at a higher price at the full MSRP. MSRP of this set was $50. So we can see that happening. Now, if this was a retired set, and if Amazon were not in stock, and if the firing actually held true, because there was a lot of, they reversed their decision, there was a lot of stuff that went back and forth about whether or not she really was fired and stuff, but if it was like a final, this happened to her, we're not going to make any more of the set, and the set was retired, Amazon didn't have stock, and if the set was not reproduced, because this set was also reproduced, another ATST came out soon after, then it is fully possible that this firing could have caused the price of this Lego set to move up. But in this case, we do not see the price moving up because Amazon were in stock. This set did not retire that year like it was supposed to. In fact, Amazon kept stock of this over the next multiple years. That happened back in 2021, and all through 2022 and 2023, Amazon have been in stock on this set. And so as a result of that, we don't see this impacting anybody's investments at all. But at the time, people did think that it would impact their investments. And so people went and invested in this set when they heard about that firing. But the demand surge was definitely true. You can see that in the data, but we don't see that reflected in the price again because Amazon were in stock for so long. They had a lot of stock of the set. It did not get retired like it was supposed to, and they made another ATST Raider as well. But that is another example of how a world event can impact a Lego set. What else do we see? Of course, we can talk about Black Panther. So again, unfortunately, we're talking about a character passing away, Chadwick Boseman, who played the Black Panther in August of 2020. He passed away tragically. And if we look at the Black Panther Lego sets, we can see some of that. So in Black Panther Pursuit 76047, if we zoom in on that year, on the 2020 year, will we see anything here? So his death, he passed away on August 28th. I'm just making sure I got the date there. August 28th. And right here, we can see the date coming up to August 27th and then August 28th. And that green line right here, we can see that plummet of the green line. That is the demand skyrocketing. Now, it was pretty short-lived in this case. It was short-lived. Over the next few weeks, it started to go back up again. But we definitely see the impact of the Chadwick Boseman death here on the Lego set, where we see demand suddenly going up of the set, a lot of support from fans. And over the course of the next few months, we do see the price of the set ticking upward as a result of some of that, because this surge in demand did mean that some sellers sold out. If we look at the supply chart at the bottom here, we can see that the supply quickly came down. The reason the supply quickly came down is because that extra demand right here, it caused a lot of those sellers to sell out. And as a result of that supply coming down, we see the price, the pink line, moving up over the next few months after this happened. So here we do see direct impact on the price. It is a little minimal. Well, actually, if you look at it on this chart, it is a little more. So right here, the set was selling for 137 and it ended the year at 167. So it did impact that price. You can see it here. Now, this was a great investment. If you bought this for 24 while it was in stock back here in 2017, you would have had to wait a little while, but he bought it for 24, sold it for 167 after a couple of years. Yeah, for sure. But we can see the impact there. Unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman and what happened with this Lego set is another example. We could look at Harry Potter, Hagrid's Hut. Now, again, this is a case where it was still in stock when Robbie Coltrane passed away. Robbie Coltrane played Hagrid in the Harry Potter movies, of course, and Hagrid's Hut is based entirely around him. And so this is set number 75947. And this happened on October 14th, 2022. So if we zoom in on 2022 here, and we look at October 14th, it was right here. So this green line that dropped right here was Robbie Coltrane passing away. So this happened on October 14th. And here we see the green line, sudden demand surge for this set. Again, lower means more sales, and this went from selling or being around a sales rank of 10,000 to 9,000 to being a sales rank of around 2,000, 2,500 in the space of a day. And so that is the massive surge in demand. And then for the rest of Q4, this demand was high, causing Amazon to eventually sell out of what they had and that price to move up. So it went from $60 up to about $80 over the space of about a week or two. After Amazon sold out. So, and then, you know, it's been pretty flat ever since. If you got this at a good price, I got this set for half price, so I made 100% return on it. But if you got it for a good price, it could have been a reasonable investment. There has been a lot of supply out there on this set, but even so, we still do see the impact right there of Robbie Coltrane passing on the 14th of October and what that can mean for a set that is centralized around him. Now, I do want to give some bonus ones here because something else can happen. So not just a surge in demand, but something else might happen after a world event. And I want to share something else that was interesting when I was kind of looking through this. And this is not really depicted in the price as heavily as some of these other examples, but I thought it was interesting. Now, on Amazon, you have a buy box. The buy box is the big buy button on the listing. If you go to try to buy a Lego set, then there is a buy box that says, yes, add this to your cart. And it's not always there. Sometimes you go to look at an Amazon listing and there's no buy box. You got to click an extra button to see all of the sellers and then buy it from one of them. There's no big orange buy button. That's because Amazon can control when they show a buy box and when they don't. And sometimes they take it away. When they take it away, they don't really give us information on why and when they decide to take the buy box away. It's kind of a bit of a mystery. But whenever they do it, it does slow the sales a little bit because some people don't realize that when you go to buy something on Amazon, you can click to see all of the other sellers and buy it from each of them. Some people just think that there's a big orange buy button and that's it. And if that big orange buy button doesn't exist, then they don't know what else to do and they might just go to a different website and buy it from there. So sometimes that happens with Amazon buy box. Now, here's an interesting thing. In June 2023, we had a submarine go missing, or a submersible go missing. I know that a lot of you will know about the story, so I'm not going to expand on it really, but in June 2023, they were searching for the Titanic and the submersible went missing. Now, what happened around that time? Did that impact submarine or submersible based Lego sets? Did people flock to go buy submarine Lego sets because of that? Here's an interesting thing. This is not really about demand and about demand spiking because of that world event. This is more about what Amazon did in reaction to that. Because if we look at 2023, if we zoom in, what do we notice that really happened here? So I'm going to clean up this chart a little bit and take out the sales rank a little bit. And then you know what? I'll also take out the blue line, which is the low price, and just look at the buy box. So this chart is now just the buy box. And again, like I said, buy box comes and goes. Amazon take it away. And so a lot of it's driven by algorithms and, you know, whatever, like they don't explain to us exactly why buy box exists or it doesn't exist. But what we do see is this big empty gap right here throughout the summer on this submarine Lego set. We see a lot of time period here where there was no buy box, which I think is interesting because the submersible going missing happened on June 22nd, 2023. Now, we did see some empty no buy box period before that happened. The buy box did come back in briefly right here, but all throughout July and August, we don't really see much buy box, and the rest of the year we do see buy box. For most of the first half of the year we do see buy box. The only big time period we don't see a buy box does coincide, kind of. It doesn't perfectly coincide, because again, there's a period before the submersible went missing where there was no buy box as well. There's also little bits throughout the other parts of the year, but not much. But there is a lot of time here between July and August where after the submersible went missing, this set did not have a buy box on it. Was that Amazon trying to slow sales of submarine based Lego sets on their website? I have no clue. I could be completely off base with that hunch. So let's check another set. So if we pull up another Lego set that is based on a submarine, so this is 60264, another submarine set, completely different and separate to the other one, and we zoom in on the past year in 2023, on this one as well, we see the same thing happening. So we also see the buy box here. If we take away the sales rank and just look at the buy box, we also see this. The buy box here was there all throughout the first half of the year and there all throughout the second half of the year, but it's missing June, July, and August for a large portion of the time. Now we do see it actually disappears in May and it is gone for early June. So again, this submarine went missing on the 22nd of June, and this was empty before, or the chart is empty before that date. So it is possible that this is completely unrelated, but I just thought it was interesting and I wanted to share it with you so you can make your own mind up on whether or not Amazon are trying to slow sales a little bit on tragic world events that happen, such as submarines going missing. I don't know that they're honorable enough. Amazon is a big corporation that want to make profits at the end of the day. And so, but I just wanted to share this. So I personally don't really believe that this was fully caused by that event, but I just thought it was interesting as a theory and something to share here. But it's fully possible that something like that, some news, will cause something to change on whether it's a surge in demand, prices going up, Amazon making a change because of something, Amazon slowing sales of something because it's, controversial. We just always got to be ready and paying attention to what world events could do to the business that we love so much, which is Lego investing, and how it can be impacted by things happening in the world. So I hope this was interesting to you, and just keep an eye out on what could happen in your business based on stuff going on, whether it's a surge in demand, prices going up, and all of that stuff. And if you found this interesting, please do hit that subscribe button, and when you're down there, don't forget to get our link to our free Facebook group. We have a completely free Facebook group where we talk about Lego investing and how to build a business with this thing. You don't want to miss out, so hit that link in the description. And thank you so much for being here. I'm Shane from brickbucks.net, and make sure that this is your year to lift off and be free.